Everybody, happy weekend. Well, it's Sunday, so I have a little bit of time to catch my breath. It's been very busy, fast and furious, a couple of weeks, after back testing for so many months. I'm so excited to have my new algorithm to start forward testing. And I was really surprised at the response to that, and I was happy, happy to get lots of comments and questions. And honestly, a lot of the questions were really based upon what is all that stuff on your chart? And I know, I will admit, I do have a lot of stuff on my chart other than the indicators that I use to make trades. So I just thought, well, let me go through some of these extras on my chart. Everybody just has to decide what brings value to them and what brings value to their algorithm. And these are the ones that I like, so I just thought I'd make a short video and kind of go through one by one and talk about what I have on my chart and how I kind of get it there. So the first one is the tried and true, no-nonsense Forex ATR. One of my favorites. And if you're not familiar with this indicator, you need to go look it up, go find it. It's very, very useful. It's very helpful. And even if you are familiar with it, you may not, know how to really manipulate it. I still get a lot of questions about, well, how do you get it up in this corner or that corner? And, how can you change the colors and things like that? So I just thought I'd go through that really quickly. What you want to do is you want to go to the Inputs tab on the indicator. And there you can see, you can adjust a lot of things. You can say whether or not you want to show that text or not, because you can just use it as, where you click on a candle and you get your take profit and stop loss lines, or you can show the text of what your ATR is. You can indicate which corner you want it to be in, and for this example, I put it in number 1, which signifies upper right. You can determine your font size and your font color. So there's a lot of things you can do. You just need to go to that Inputs tab and manipulate it a little bit. The next indicator that I have on my chart is a symbol changer, and it's called Symbol Changer Plus. And for the longest time, I love the idea of symbol changers, but I never used them because I could never get them to work with the Trade Assistant, which is one of the EAs. For some reason, symbol changers don't want to play nice with expert advisors. And so I didn't have them on my chart for the longest time. And then I saw this one and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a cool one. It gives me a lot of really good information. And so I have to tell you, I do have it on my chart, but I don't use it to change my symbols. I know, it's a symbol changer, but I don't use it for that. I really only use it for the visual aspects that it gives me and the information that I can see on my chart. For example, this block of pairs here, this is where you would typically click on the different buttons to change your chart, and I don't do that. I revert back to the tried and true way of having your market watch window open to the left of your chart and then dropping and dragging the pairs. So why do I want to even have this square here? Well, it's because it actually will designate which pairs I have open trades on, and it'll tell me at a quick glance whether those trades are positive or negative. So I only have one trade open right now, and that's on the Aussie Kiwi, which we're on right now. But you can see here it's designated by that blue box that it is an open trade. And if I was on any other pair, that box would actually show up green. And likewise, if I had additional trades on other pairs that were not in profit, then they would show up red. So I could quickly look at this list and say, oh, look at that. I have like 4 trades open, and those are the pairs they're on, and it'll tell me whether they're in profit or not. So I just find that's helpful for me. So to get this particular box, again, you go to your inputs, and you're going to look for symbol settings, because that's what this is. And you can tell it yes, true to show, or if you don't want that, just hit false and it won't show. You're going to tell it, you know, what chart corner do you want to put it in, and then it's going to appear for you. But that's not all that this indicator does. Some of the other things, other types of information that it will give you is for any open trades, it'll tell you what your profit is. It'll tell you both in pips and in dollars, if dollars is your base currency, whatever your base currency is. So that's kind of nice for any of those open, open trades. It'll tell you what that trade is. And to make that appear, you go to the profit settings area, and again, this is still in inputs. You're just scrolling down a bit, and you say true if you want it to appear. You tell it what corner you want to put it in, and then you can designate a vertical shift or a horizontal shift. That's kind of nice about this indicator, is it won't just put it in a corner. You can actually manipulate that vertical or horizontal shift, which means how far out of the corner do you actually want it to be. For example, I have this one set at a vertical shift of 10, which if you look over here, so this is what it's controlling. And rather than sitting smack dab in the corner, it's bumped it up just a little bit, just to provide a little space. That's what that vertical shift is. And this vertical shift really does come in handy and is much more important when you start to stack these things on top of each other. For example, you can also have a spread indicator on the chart that all comes from the same indicator. So if you want to show the spread indicator, you just turn it on to true, you tell it where. And by the way, this does not have to be the same corner. You are able to put all of these different elements from this indicator wherever you want them. I just happen to like it in that lower left corner. But here's where the vertical shift becomes much more important. Notice that for this one, I have the vertical shift set to 55. Now the other one, remember, was set at 10. Well, what it does is this is the spread right here. It lifts it up from the bottom a level of 55. And we want to do that because if you put them both in the same corner, but you don't adjust the vertical shift, then they'll end up right on top of each other, and you don't want that. So this gives you a lot of flexibility in how you can determine where each of these visual elements lie. And another one I use is the bar time. So this will tell me the time until whatever the current bar is to close. Same thing, you can tell it what corner. It can be in a different corner if you like, it doesn't matter. But if you are going to put these in the same corner again, you want to make sure that you adjust that vertical shift so that it's not on top of anything else. So as you can see, by changing this vertical shift, we've basically just stacked these things on top of each other so that we can see them easy. And again, this is all under that Inputs tab. You just keep scrolling down to these different sections. I will mention that this indicator has even more information that you can have on your chart if you want. I'm just choosing not to because, hey, It's already pretty crowded. But if you would like, you can put a time frames indicator in there. You can put clock settings in there. This kind of will let you know which trading window or trading session that is currently active, and ATR settings. I have just chosen to leave those off for now and mark them false. Another really cool little utility that I found was something called My Trade in Pips. And this is nice because it helps to mark up your chart with your previous trades. Now, I don't have a closed trade on this new chart, but I took a screen capture here. You can see the insert that when you have a closed trade, My Trade in Pips will capture where you went into that trade and where your exit points were, and whether or not that was a profitable trade or a negative trade, which is kind of nice because then you can like look back across your chart and kind of reevaluate those trades and see where they were and what the results were, so you can make adjustments if you need to. The other thing that I think is really kind of fun is that this verbiage here will be cumulative. So as you have additional trades, now it's per pair, mind you, it's not cumulative for your whole account. You can always get that in your account history. But what this is, it's looking at each pair separately, like this one happens to be the Aussie Kiwi. And as you do additional trades, it'll keep updating your total profit and your total pips, whether you're positive or negative, or what the net result is. And you get that because in the inputs here, it's show total profits true, show total pips true. Now, something else that this indicator will do is it'll actually show vertical lines if you want. It'll mark off vertical lines where you enter trades and where you exit. I just find it gets a little messy and a little crazy on the chart, so I have that turned off. But something you can set up if you want. I happen to have this located in the bottom right-hand side of my screen, but again, you can put it in any corner you want. And likewise, if you go to this other tab, the colors, you can adjust the colors, you can adjust the font, so you have, again, more control in how this indicator appears on your screen. And finally here, I've got an economic calendar. So basically what this does is it provides a list of scheduled news events. And it tells you like 1 hour, 58 minutes until Kiwi has its retail sales results. So it'll tell you of upcoming news events. And if you've been following me, you know this is one of my weaknesses. So this is not something I personally am great at looking ahead and avoiding. So I think this is going to be a pretty good tool for me. Any tool I can find to help me be more successful in this, all the better. But you can adjust this a lot of different ways as well. Again, under the Inputs tab, you can determine what impact of news do you want to show up in this list. I have mine set to high and medium only, but you can have high, medium, low. You can have bank holidays. You can have a lot of different options. You can even say, all, show me everything. And then this list will just be a lot more inclusive. You do have the option of showing vertical lines, which is going to indicate the candle on which that news event will occur. Again, I'm not crazy about vertical lines, so I have that turned off, but you can turn it on. What I like most about this is you can be very, very specific about the location of where you want this list to occur. You can have it in your main chart window, but that takes up a lot of real estate. Or you can even tell it to go to a sub window. See how I have sub window 2? So the sub-windows are these other windows below your main chart that usually your indicators are in. So this would be my sub-window 1, this would be my sub-window 2, and sub-window 3. I just happen to like it in sub-window 2 because I think it fits in there really nice. And then once you tell it which window, you can also say whether you want it to be, you know, the left lower corner, the right lower corner, whatever. I like the information that it gives me because it pulls in data right from Forex Factory. So I think that's pretty valid data. And I like the way I can really manipulate it a lot. So there you go. That's all the extras that I have on my chart. You may notice this chart's a little bit different than the one that I had in the previous video. It's just that I rearranged how I have these things showing up on the chart a little bit, tried to make them a little bit more, you know, efficient and not so covering of the candles themselves. But there's a lot of good stuff out there that can be helpful to you. I'm not going to go through all the indicators yet, the indicators that I have on the chart to actually make trade decisions. I'll save that for another video. But since I had so many questions, I'm hoping this was valuable to you or helpful to you in trying to determine what you might find of use on your charts. And then once you get them on there, how you can set them up and make them appear the way you want to. So with that, I'll say good night, happy weekend, happy trading. Take care, everybody.